The story opens with two office girls chatting about their Valentine's Day plans. One of them remarks that she's already prepared. She wants to gift chocolates to a man from the same company, because nothing says romance like corporate proximity and cocoa. The other finds the idea quite appealing. Meanwhile, behind them, another office lady ignores their conversation and walks straight to the manager. She explains that today's proposal is completed, and the manager praises her after reviewing the work. He notes she always finishes tasks ahead of time. Some people chase deadlines, she laps them for sport. Right after that, the girl mentions that since her work is done, she's taking a day off from the office. The manager praises her work once again as she leaves the office. On her way out, she overhears a few colleagues chatting about her. One wonders if Nomi will also give chocolates to someone, while another remarks he doesn't think so, she's far too unromantic. They add they've never even seen her smile. As soon as Nomi steps out of the office, Atsuki senpai is waiting for her. She notices a paper bag in his hand and inquires what's inside. In a slightly annoyed tone, he replies it's an obligatory chocolate. Ah, nothing screams I care like a socially required sugar offering. Nomi calls him scary, while he turns the question back, asking if anyone has given her chocolate. She responds that she really hates the whole obligatory chocolate culture. Her senior nods, saying he understands her point. As they walk, she adds that giving anything to someone you don't even like feels completely pointless. Her senior agrees, remarking that it's all just a waste of time and money. They talk among themselves about how strange it is. When you give someone chocolate, you mention it as obligatory, and neither of the two actually wants such a gift. Truly, nothing bonds two people faster than mutual bitterness over candy. Nomi, however, feels that her senior has accepted it, and she calls him a dunderhead about it. When he asks, she says she didn't say anything. As they continue walking, they keep chatting, trying to steer the conversation toward a different topic. He tells Nomi that this is a useless culture for both men and women, as neither benefits from it. She replies that in her opinion, this culture should end. Then, noticing bandages on Nomi's hand, he asks how she got so many injuries. She hesitates a little before explaining that while making cup noodles yesterday, hot water spilled on her hand. He advises her to be careful, but she insists she can handle her work, and there's no need to worry. He tells her that he cares more about her than her work. Corporate efficiency suddenly takes a backseat to actual feelings. How scandalous. Hearing this, a spark lights up in Nomi's eyes. She looks at him, thanking him and apologizing for always bringing him along to the station. He reassures her that it's no problem, knowing some suspicious guys might follow her since she's quite a careless girl. Nomi, slightly annoyed, snaps that she's not careless. He thinks to himself that it was a close call. He almost let the word cute slip. At the same time, he had expected that Nomi might give him an obligatory chocolate, but instead, she thanks him for looking out for her. As he is about to say goodbye and leave, she stops him for a minute. As he turns back to look at Nomi, she hands him a box wrapped as a gift. Seeing it, he is genuinely surprised and falls silent. Receiving the package, he asks if it's chocolate. Nomi confirms that it is. He remarks that it doesn't make any sense, since Nomi had said she hates giving obligatory chocolates. Irony just entered the chat and brought dessert. He adds that he can't figure out what to give Nomi in return for this obligatory chocolate gift. Hearing his words, Nomi recalls the effort she put in the previous day, following a long recipe to make the chocolate. She blushes so deeply that her face turns red, and tells him that he's being a bit too insensitive. Hearing this, her senior suddenly feels unsure. Sitting at home, he thinks about Nomi, noting that she's 3 years younger than he is. When she first joined the company, he was her tutor. Yeah, the classic "I'm not thinking about her," while literally doing nothing but thinking about her. His thoughts drift to all her positive qualities. Then he remembers accompanying her to the station once before, after some suspicious guy had been following her. But today, on Valentine's Day, he feels genuinely surprised. Nomi has given him a true love chocolate gift. He keeps staring at the chocolate on the table, thinking to himself how closely he's watched Nomi at the company. He knows she's very serious about her work and that she likes cute stuff. She can be a little cold at times, but she cares deeply about others. He still remembers the time Nomi called to tell him that some shady guy had been following her. In his heart, he thinks that if he didn't feel something special for her, he would never have waited every day to walk her to the station. But sure, it's totally just professional concern. As he reflects on this, he wonders if Nomi feels something for him too. He could never guess from her expressions. All these thoughts leave him frustrated, and meanwhile, he keeps staring continuously at her gift box. He slowly opens the box, picks up a piece of chocolate, and tastes it. He chuckles a little, thinking about how much rum Nomi must have put in it. Then suddenly he leaves the house, grabs some supplies, and returns home. He starts making chocolate in his own home. As he works, he thinks to himself that since he's Nomi's senior, he should show her the proper way to do this. Because nothing says romance like a chocolate-making masterclass. Then he remembers he forgot to bring the wrapping. The next day, following his routine, he waits for her. She arrives, and they start walking together. At one point, Nomi suggests he walk ahead, but he tells her no, she should lead the way. A light blush appears on Nomi's face as she asks her senior if he ate the chocolates, since she had made them for the first time. Nomi, calling him by his name, Atsuki, says that he's really bad at lying. Atsuki then explains that she had put too much wine in them. Nomi defends herself, saying she followed the recipe. He tells her that only a tiny bit is added for flavor. Nomi mutters to herself, wondering how she could know that. Atsuki assures her that, aside from that, the chocolates look great and are more than good enough for a beginner. He appreciates how hard she worked to make them for him for the first time, saying that alone means more than enough to him. After that, he hands her a bag. Seeing the insulated bag, Nomi suddenly feels excited, while Atsuki explains that it's a demonstration from her senior. When she looks inside the packet, she finds a variety of chocolates neatly arranged in a bento box. Nothing says, "I'm not compensating," like a fully curated chocolate collection. She teases Atsuki about it, and he blushes, telling her that he didn't have any fancy wrapping at home. Atsuki tells her to eat the chocolates at home and not to try them or even sniff them here, while Nomi leans in, sniffing them anyway. Later, when they reach the station, Nomi thanks him for accompanying her and tells Atsuki to stay careful on his way. Atsuki also clarifies that he wants to make one thing clear. This gift is not a return for yesterday's chocolate, but a demonstration. Nomi understands his point. Blushing slightly, he tells her that he'll prepare something even better for her on White Day. Still blushing, she asks if White Day will be tomorrow, and Atsuki replies as if. Once he gets home, he reflects on the things he said to her at the station. He thinks about how he can't figure out what to give her in return for the true love chocolate gift she gave him, since before today, no one had ever given him a true love chocolate. Apparently, romance comes with homework now. He's thinking about whether to give her something homemade or a product from a good brand. The idea of baking homemade cookies for her even crosses his mind, but he still doesn't know what she actually likes. What he really wants is to give her something she'll enjoy, yet the problem is that he can't go and ask her directly what she likes. A few days later, during work at the company, Atsuki goes to Nomi. Regarding the proposal she received, there are some missing words and a few mistakes. Atsuki asks who's responsible for it. She replies that she can fix everything if he sends her the data. Once he sends it, he peeks lightly at her desk, hoping to get a hint of what Nomi likes. Because nothing screams subtle like workplace snooping. There he notices water and gum. Seeing this, Atsuki is quite surprised. Perhaps he has spotted what Nomi usually eats during lunch, but it doesn't give him any real clue. Later, during the office lunch break as he passes by Nomi's desk, he notices she has a container of soy sauce noodles in her hand. Seeing this, Atsuki becomes even more surprised, realizing that what he's observed still doesn't give him any helpful clue. After work, noticing Atsuki's expressions, Nomi asks if he's frowning like Mariana today and if he has a stomachache. Atsuki replies that he's fine, while thinking to himself that Nomi hasn't eaten anything all day except for water and noodles. She's been focused entirely on work. Suddenly, his eyes catch something in one spot. Detective Atsuki, master of the obvious, is on the case. He tells Nomi that he's going to get her something to drink from the nearby vending machine. Nomi, surprised, thanks him but says she's fine since she already has a water bottle. Atsuki suggests she should get something hot to drink, since it's quite cold today. But now he becomes even more curious. He wants to figure out what kind of flavor Nomi likes. At the vending machine, just as Nomi is about to select tea, Atsuki quickly stops her, leaving her surprised. She then chooses a can of coffee for herself from the machine. Seeing this, Atsuki asks if she likes coffee, and she replies that she does, just so-so. After returning home, Atsuki sits down for dinner, thinking that he still doesn't fully understand Nomi. While he's lost in thought, a voice from the TV catches his attention. An anchor is asking a girl which returned gift on Valentine's Day will disappoint her. She answers cookies. Hearing this, Atsuki's focus drifts even more in that direction, deepening his curiosity. But he becomes even more curious. Why don't girls like cookies as a return gift? On the TV show, the girl explains that she gave someone a true love chocolate gift, and in return, she received cookies, which meant the person just wanted to stay friends. Translation: here's some carbs, but let's keep this platonic. She thinks it's not a very good approach. Turning off the TV, he reflects that a true return gift is meant to convey meaning, and he thinks that Nomi probably won't mind his gift as long as it tastes good. Then he picks up his phone and, seeing something on it, wonders if he should give it a try. Meanwhile, at home, Nomi is sipping the same can of coffee. As she drinks, she recalls Atsuki's words about getting something warm to drink since it's cold. She presses the can to her cheek, feeling its warmth, and thinks to herself how she hopes White Day comes soon. On the eve of White Day, Nomi and Atsuki walk together toward the station after work. She thanks him for walking her. They soon part ways, heading to their homes. At his house, Atsuki realizes White Day is tomorrow, and he hasn't prepared anything. Nervously, he grabs a lemon and follows a recipe to make candies, carefully shaping them before placing them in the fridge. Doubting whether candies alone are enough, he wonders if his gift will suffice. The next day, Nomi approaches Atsuki, apologizing for keeping him waiting. She glances at him, puzzled by his empty hands, expecting a White Day gesture. Noticing her expression, Atsuki asks if something's on his face. When she says no, he apologizes and invites her to his place briefly, promising a taxi ride home later. That evening, on their way back, he hands her a bag, explaining it was in the fridge earlier. Nomi instantly understands why he came empty-handed before. She opens the bag to find handmade candies, her face lighting up with joy. Amazed, she admits she never expected such a cute gift from him, feeling both surprised and delighted. Atsuki, watching her reaction, feels relieved, knowing she appreciates the gesture as he'd hoped. Then he hands her another bag, calling it a freebie. Inside is a sacchartort. Nomi, stunned, remarks that it's too much for a freebie. Atsuki explains that the candies didn't take long, so he used his spare time to bake the cake. When she asks if he made it all himself, he nods. In disbelief, she jokingly calls him a monster. As her taxi arrives, Atsuki helps her in, saying he'll see her tomorrow. Nomi starts to speak, but the taxi pulls away before she can finish. On her ride home, Nomi blushes, realizing Atsuki hasn't addressed her Valentine's Day gesture. Meanwhile, Atsuki lies in bed, sighing over his failure to express his feelings, feeling like a nervous middle schooler. He worries whether she understood his intentions. At home, Nomi tastes the candies, amazed by their rich flavor. Confused, she notes that cookies or marshmallows are typical White Day gifts, not candies. Curious, she searches online and learns that candies signify romantic feelings. A gift for someone special. Stunned, her phone slips from her hand, her face flushes, and her eyes shine as she trembles with the realization. Meanwhile, Atsuki lies in bed, second-guessing Nomi's reaction to the gift. He debates calling her, unsure if she grasped his feelings, leaving them both caught in a quiet mix of unspoken emotions. A week after White Day, Atsuki finds himself lost in thought, knowing nothing special has happened between them. Every time he's with Nomi, she talks in her usual casual way. It left him unsure if she truly understood the meaning behind his gift. Romantic suspense level, painfully unresolved. Now he debates with himself, wondering if he should tell her directly what he really meant. Atsuki still carries the weight of his past, remembering how he once confessed to a girl who he thought liked him, only to realize she didn't, leaving his heart broken. He mutters to himself that he's starting to act like a girl now, overthinking everything. Meanwhile, Nomi sits at home, troubled that a whole week has passed since Atsuki gave her the candies. What confuses her most is why he never properly answered at the end. He only said the candies were a gift, and the sacchartort was a freebie. She wonders what hidden meaning he was trying to convey. Determined, she decides she'll have to confess to him herself. So she sends him a message, thanking him for the gift, and also asking if he could teach her how to make them. Reading her message, Atsuki finally feels a small sense of relief. He thinks this might finally be his chance to confess to Nomi, while at the same time, Nomi herself quietly hopes for the very same thing. The next day, sitting together in the park, Atsuki hands her a paper with the full recipe written on it, She asks if he really made this for her, and he nods, saying yes, and that he'll explain it to her. Because nothing says, "I like you," quite like a full-page PDF of dessert instructions. As she looks at the recipe, she's stunned to see how long and detailed it is, leaving her genuinely surprised. She thanks him for the recipe, and Atsuki asks if she would like to try it out herself. Nomi shakes her head, saying no. Curious, he asks why she even brought it up then, but soon brushes the moment aside. After a brief silence, he thinks to himself that maybe now he has to talk openly. Just then, Nomi breaks the quiet, bringing up the return gift he gave her on White Day. She realized the candies were the real gift, while the sacre torte was just a freebie, and she admits she thought there must be some hidden meaning behind it, so she searched online. Atsuki is startled, realizing she might have figured it out. As he hesitates to explain, she speaks up, saying she thinks the return gift means he might like her. Her words hang in the air, leaving him speechless. Just as she starts to apologize, he suddenly interrupts. He snaps that it's nonsense, leaving Nomi stunned. In a sharp tone, he adds that she should know better. When looking things up online, you have to check multiple sources. Nothing like a fact-checking lecture in the middle of a confession. Nervously, Nomi asks if she was wrong. Atsuki confirms she was, then, steadying himself, admits the truth. The gift means he likes her. At last, he confesses openly. He tells her straight that his feelings aren't casual, he truly likes her. Nomi smiles, blushes, and says she likes him too. Atsuki blushes, flustered. Nomi teases him, saying he already had her from the start, but took so long to confess that it came to this. She jokes that while he's good at work, he's a total airhead in real life. The words hit Atsuki hard. He snaps back, asking who she's calling an airhead and telling her not to pin it all on him. Calmly, Nomi reveals she already knew the meaning. She checked multiple sources. It was common sense. Atsuki gets more irritated, realizing she was toying with him the whole time. Emotional manipulation, but cute. Then Nomi says what she really wanted was to hear it from him, that he likes her. Atsuki is left stunned. After that, Nomi stands and says she's leaving her future in his hands, teasingly calling him her senior boyfriend. Annoyed, he tells her to just use his name, but she smirks and calls him Airhead Senpai instead. Atsuki grumbles at the nicknames, while Nomi keeps teasing him, clearly enjoying every moment. A few days after this, Atsuki begins observing Nomi closely. Whether it's by offering a new flavor, sending a cute puppy photo, or a funny artist, her reactions remain casual, as if even joy must pass through her May filter. These moments leave Atsuki thoughtful. When Nomi mentions the artist, Atsuki asks if she genuinely finds them funny, noting her lack of a smile. She confirms she does, then playfully asks if she seems like a liar. He teases that her foolish demeanor makes it hard to tell. Privately, he reflects that, a week into their relationship, he longs to see her smile. He notices that neither food, animals, nor famous comedians brings a smile to her. Unwilling to ask directly and risk his cool image, he casually inquires if there's something she truly wants. Nomi asks why, and he brushes it off as small talk, though he's hoping to find a gift idea. After a pause, she mentions wanting a new graphics card, costing 300,000 to 400,000 yen, but plans to buy it next month. Atsuki, knowing she can afford it, wishes her a safe trip home. To his surprise, Nomi asks if he's skilled at cooking, complimenting his expertise in sweets. She casually visits his house and thanks him for inviting her. Caught off guard, he welcomes her in. She comments on his plain room, and he defends it as minimalist, secretly admitting he dislikes shopping. As she sits, he heads to the kitchen and asks what food she likes. Her vague anything frustrates him. Atsuki suggests making spring rolls with some meat he has, assuring her it's simple despite her concerns about it being fancy. He needs wrappers from the market and promises a quick return. Nomi wishes him a safe trip. While Atsuki is out, Nomi feels drowsy, eyeing a pillow, but resisting a nap. Self-control wins. He returns with the wrappers and asks if she wants to help cook. She agrees at first, but quickly backtracks, admitting she can't cook. She reveals that a gift she made for him was her first attempt at creating something since school cooking classes. Touched, Atsuki wonders if she went to such lengths just for him. He focuses on the recipe. The chopping sounds soothing to her like ASMR, but the smell stirs her awake. Nomi enters the kitchen, captivated by the smell, claiming she's just there to observe. particularly curious about the spring roll wrapping. Atsuki calls her mischievous. Once the food is ready, he sets the table, and Nomi marvels at the aroma and presentation. He serves soup, urging her to eat before it cools. She thanks him. As Nomi takes her first bite, her face lights up with a bright smile, her cheeks flushed with delight. She eats eagerly, savoring each bite. Atsuki's mission to make her smile succeeds, his chef status secured. Her genuine happiness shines through. After finishing, Nomi thanks him, calling the meal delicious. Noticing he's barely eating, she asks if he's not hungry, adding she could eat more. Atsuki places a spring roll from his plate onto hers, making her beam. He offers to cook for her daily, and Nomi, thrilled, admits she usually relies on convenience store food. She jokingly calls his place her boyfriend's canteen. Atsuki silently agrees, wanting the same. When she offers to pay, he gently declines. The scene shifts to Nomi as she greets Atsuki with a cheerful good morning. Her casual outfit catches him off guard, her beauty sparking 1,000 heartbeats. Atsuki reflects that today's date is about Nomi enjoying exceptional food, hopefully flashing a smile that lights up his world. Recalling the meal she loved from his canteen at home, he aims to treat her to something special from a restaurant to spark that elusive grin. He suggests lunch and offers pasta, rice, or Thai food. Nomi asks if he knows any good spots, and Atsuki assures her the local options are excellent. After a moment, she chooses rice. When the food arrives, she thanks him, and Atsuki eagerly anticipates her reaction. As expected, her expression remains neutral. Nomi declares the rice the best she's ever had, but her face shows no emotion. Atsuki, slightly pleased yet baffled by her stoic demeanor, questions her sincerity. She insists she's honest, leaving him both satisfied and puzzled. After lunch, they step outside, and Nomi praises the meal, vowing to bring friends next time. Atsuki's mood lifts. Passing a shop, Nomi's eyes lock onto a teddy bear and a claw machine. When she nods at his questioning glance, he wins it on his first try. Nomi, delighted, hugs the bear tightly, grins, and thanks him warmly. Her rare, genuine smile finally appears, thanks to a stuffed toy. Atsuki beams, but Nomi teases him to stop staring, insisting adults can love such things. He clarifies he was just thinking she's cute, not mocking her. Nomi playfully asks if he's teasing, and Atsuki, averting his gaze, admits he's just happy. They head to a restaurant for a break, and Nomi, intrigued, asks about the fancy place. He explains they serve excellent pancakes. She protests that she's too full for dinner and prefers coffee. He browses the menu but orders a pancake anyway. Nomi shoots him an annoyed glance, and he teases that she's staring like a crazy person. She retorts she's just looking, their banter a subtle love language. Atsuki offers her a piece of pancake, insisting one bite won't hurt. Nomi quietly accepts and finds it delicious, yet her face remains expressionless. He excuses himself to the bathroom, noting she didn't seem shy. Alone, Nomi reflects on how much he's fed her today, her heart racing as a soft blush colors her cheeks. As night falls, Nomi mentions the growing chill. Atsuki, concerned, asks if she has a coat. She admits her hands are cold. He suggests dinner to warm up, boasting about knowing the best spots. Nomi considers a hamburger steak, but before he can suggest a place near the station, she interrupts, requesting a meal from his canteen instead. A slight blush crosses her face, and Atsuki, catching her meaning, feels a spark. Holding his hand, Nomi calls him a dense senpai. He protests her bluntness, secretly charmed. At his home, he prepares a substantial meal. Watching her savor it, he feels deep fulfillment, though he muses that dining out might have been tastier. Atsuki spots a laughing couple on the street, their happiness starkly contrasting with his and Nomi's dynamic. The sight unsettles him, souring his mood. He wonders if Nomi even has feelings for him. Noticing his expression, Nomi playfully teases him about what's wrong. Though he suspects her reserved attitude fuels his doubts, he steers the conversation elsewhere. As they walk, Nomi's gaze lands on a crepe shop. She asks if she can buy one, and Atsuki agrees, deciding to get one too. They purchase their crepes and sit to enjoy them, the sugar and whipped cream a small comfort. She declares hers delicious. He offers to make some for her next time, and she eagerly agrees to try them. During their chat, Nomi says she'd be happy if he shared his feelings with her, adding that as his girlfriend, she's there for him. As she leans closer, Atsuki notices how quickly she finishes her crepe. He starts to ask if she enjoys their time together. but a familiar voice interrupts. Someone has recognized Nomi. The girl remarks on the rare coincidence of seeing Nomi out like this. Nomi explains she's here for business. The girl then asks if Atsuki is the boyfriend Nomi talks about so much, surprising them both. Nomi's friends soon spot Atsuki and chat excitedly among themselves, turning the date into an impromptu press conference. Watching them, he notices Nomi's face remains expressionless. He realizes his earlier worries were misplaced. She simply doesn't show emotions easily. Nomi tells her friends they should get back to work. They agree, promising to hang out soon and say goodbye. Atsuki feels warmed by Nomi's close friendships. As they leave, one friend calls back, hoping to hear a new chapter of the cool boyfriend diary. The comment startles Nomi and catches Atsuki off guard, unaware he's the star of her friend's stories. A brief silence follows. Nomi clarifies that she only shares positive things about him with her friends. Touched, he listens as she starts to explain her friend's remark. Before she finishes, he blushes, snaps a photo of her with his phone, and tells her she looks cute, leaving her speechless. Suddenly, Nomi lunges at Atsuki, demanding that he delete the photo. Atsuki promises he will but warns her not to knock away his crepe. Priorities: relationship on fire, but protect the dessert. Nomi remains frustrated, but this time Atsuki wins their little photo battle. Later, he brings her home and serves the crepe he made with his own hands. Even then, he keeps thinking to himself that Nomi looks truly adorable. The next day, Atsuki prepares salmon munier at home. Nomi's eyes light up when she sees it, and she says it's her first time trying it. Her first bite brings a bright, genuine smile, and she declares it delicious. Reflecting on their 3-month relationship, Atsuki notes that Nomi only smiles after eating his cooking. He's grown accustomed to this and resolves to win her heart through food. As Nomi savors the meal and praises his skills, Atsuki asks when she'll stop calling him senior and use his name. She explains that she uses senior at work to maintain professionalism. He counters that everyone knows they're dating, but Nomi insists on keeping their private life separate. The name issue leaves him uneasy. After clearing the dishes, Atsuki lies in bed. Nomi asks if he's sulking, and he admits he is. She approaches, praising the dinner, but he turns away, mumbling a yes. Sensing his frustration, Nomi blushes and says, "Kuga-san." He insists she drop the san. Lying beside him, she gently touches his back and whispers, "Kuga Atsuki." He sits up, playfully ruffling her hair, and notes that she's using his full name. They reconcile. The next morning, Nomi wakes refreshed, reflecting on their 3 months together, but a heavier thought brings sudden sadness. At work, Atsuki suggests a new lunch spot, but Nomi, busy and distracted, declines his offer to help, saying she'll manage. He urges her to eat later and leaves, noticing her low mood. While walking, he mentions needing ingredients from the market. Nomi starts to speak but stops, then says she won't eat at his canteen for a few days. Curious, Atsuki asks why, but she says she can't explain. He wonders if he did something wrong, and she reassures him he didn't, offering no further clarity. She thanks him and walks away. That evening, Atsuki, puzzled, reviews his actions but finds no answers. As he reaches for his phone to call her, the doorbell rings. Nomi stands there, apologizing for her unannounced visit. They sit in heavy silence. He gently asks what's wrong, but Nomi struggles to respond, her expression troubled. Tears well in her eyes and fall. Seeing her cry, Atsuki feels a deep ache. He apologizes, worried he said something wrong, though he's unsure what. He pulls her into a tight embrace, patting her head as she whispers, "Sorry." Nomi confesses having gained weight, eating at his place nightly, and fears that relying too much on him might push him away. Atsuki hugs her tighter, then pulls back, holding her shoulders, and calls her worries foolish. Still crying, Nomi asks if he'd mind if she gained weight. He reassures her it's fine, admitting he's been cooking healthy meals to help her gain weight since she's so thin. He offers to adjust his menu if she's concerned, urging her not to underestimate his canteen. Nomi, suddenly serious, accuses him of deliberately trying to make her gain weight. Sensing a misunderstanding, Atsuki urges her not to misread him. She apologizes, and he asks what she wants for dinner. When she names a high-calorie dish, he notes its richness with amusement. The next morning, Nomi announces she wants to exercise, impressing Kuga-san, though he doubts her enthusiasm will last. He remarks that she doesn't seem the athletic type and asks about her usual physical activities. When Nomi has no answer, he suggests basketball, baseball, or tennis, but she has little to no ability. Atsuki proposes walking and has her put on a tracksuit. Feeling confident, Nomi asks how long they'll walk, and he suggests 30 minutes to an hour. During their stroll, a puppy approaches. He freezes, but Nomi plays with it before returning it to its owner. Noticing him trembling, she teases him about fearing a small puppy. He explains a childhood dog bite, and her soft smile warms him. They discuss dogs, and Atsuki shares a personal goal, earning her admiration. Further along, they hear a child crying over a balloon stuck in a tree. Atsuki climbs up, retrieves it, and hands it to the grateful child. Nomi calls him over, joking he looked like a cool monkey. Unsure if it's a compliment, he asks if she's afraid of heights. She clarifies it's about stamina, not fear, and admits enjoying roller coasters and Ferris wheels, agreeing to ride them with him. They lose track of time, chatting and enjoying the pleasant weather. Stopping at a vending machine for water, they realize they've walked farther than planned. Nomi mentions her hunger, and Atsuki plans a protein-rich meal, likely bang-bang chicken, needing chicken breast and a hot pot. She loves the idea, but says the best part of the day was his company. He suggests enjoying the scenery, but she insists it's him that made it special. Touched, he glances away and asks if she feels bothered by frequent dinners at his place. She admits occasional guilt, but he reassures her it's fine. Atsuki proposes living together in a larger apartment, suggesting they split rent or he could cover it, framing it as a financial benefit with added breakfast perks. Stunned, Nomi asks if it's just about money. He confesses he wants to spend more time with her, holding her hand and urging honesty. A bright smile crosses her face as she calls his idea wonderful. Nomi suggests visiting a realtor for a place near a glass store with a good stove. Atsuki, wondering if she's teasing, shares her enthusiasm. Their story concludes with love, laughter, and plenty of food.
Here I am, know it's been a while. I was in denial about my love. Here I stand, I know I walked away.